take a look now at network types and antennas. So you may have an access point like this in your home, or it may be an all-inclusive one where the antennas are actually built into the device itself. Regardless, the devices we use in our home networks and in businesses are usually using an omnidirectional antenna. And an omnidirectional antenna sends a signal out in all directions from the antenna. Now, that signal in this image is only two-dimensional here, so we actually have to imagine this as spheres in a three-dimensional world radiating in every direction. This is in contrast to a directional antenna. Here is a type of directional antenna called a Yagi antenna, and we use this type of antenna for point-to-point networks. We might use a point-to-point network to build a WAN connection between two buildings inside of a metropolitan area or out in a rural area. Here we can build this wireless connection between our buildings, and it prevents us from having to run a copper cable or fiber optics to connect our networks together. The only challenge here is that on foggy days, we may see degradation in our performance, or somebody could build a building in between here, or a tree could grow in between here, which would also prevent our signal from propagating properly. We have wireless mesh networks as well, which I've discussed previously. And a wireless mesh network, we usually see this in like metro Wi-Fi networks where we have a Wi-Fi network in a city, or we see it in our home networks. I've seen some commercial products that are available for consumers where we can actually have a Wi-Fi mesh network in our home without needing to run wires to every single access point. We can actually extend the coverage in our home network to reach every corner of our home or yard to give adequate cover for all of our devices and family members. There's also wireless ad hoc networks. Now, when wireless networking was relatively new in the industry, laptops didn't automatically come with a wireless NIC. You had to add it on, and you may or may not have had access to a wireless access point. So a long time ago, we could connect our devices together with a wireless ad hoc network and transfer information between them. Generally, now we use a wireless access point to connect our devices with our laptops. However, we do build these little wireless ad hoc networks all the time between our wireless headphones and our smartphone, or really any other Bluetooth connection we make with our device. We can consider that a wireless ad hoc network. There's no access point in the middle negotiating the conversation between our devices. It's literally just between the wireless NIC in one device communicating with the wireless NIC in our smartphone or tablet or other Bluetooth-capable device. Now, in contrast to ad hoc mode, we have infrastructure mode. Infrastructure mode is the one that you're probably most familiar with. It's where we have an access point and then devices that connect to that central access point. That access point is oftentimes connected to the rest of a network or the internet. And in our home networks, we usually have what we call autonomous access points or thick access points. We probably don't call them that in our home network. We probably just call it our Wi-Fi router or our Wi-Fi. But in a business network or a corporate network, we're going to call these autonomous access points. And usually, if we are using an autonomous access point, it means we're configuring that device directly. We probably only have one or two in our network, so it results in a very simple configuration. This is in contrast to lightweight access points. And lightweight access points, we use a wireless controller to configure these devices. The wireless access points here then just act as a radio to connect our client to the wireless network, but then all of the brains and configuration and network behavior happens on the controller itself. So all traffic leaves the wireless access point, goes back to the controller to be processed and sent out to wherever in the network it needs to go. And these are the most critical fundamentals of wireless technologies that we need to know. Let's now go look at how we implement these wireless technologies.